welcome to another episode of the Bobshop. Clearly not in the Bobshop today. Bit of a weird channel crossover going on. I'm at my treehouse. We are here doing another build weekend for Our Place in the Trees. I'll put a link to that channel down below, which is a wonderful project that I'm doing with a few friends of mine, and we're building a treehouse, and that's where we are this weekend, so we're doing that. But the crossover is, while I'm here this weekend, I want to build something, and the thing I want to build is a Hobo fishing kit. Lots of videos on YouTube about how to build these. They're not complicated at all. I just want to build one. So I've been to a fishing shop yesterday and picked up a bit of a selection of hooks and some decent line, a couple of small floats and some split shot weights. So that's sort of the basic kit that you require for the fishing kit. You just need something to put them on, and I have this nice piece of cherry from the wood pile, and I'm going to use this section here pretty much. Just need a piece of decent straight wood that's a nice size to grip with your hand, not too big. I did think about using this end, but it's a bit fat really, and you can't really get a decent grip on it. So I'm going to use this bit. I'm going to cut it here and here, and maybe whittle a little bit out to make it a little bit more handle shaped, and then the real end, spool end, have kind of a little edge to it, so that the line's got something that it kind of butts up to, and that'll be that. I won't be able to hollow it out while I'm here. If it works and it's alright, I'll probably hollow it out at home when I get back on my lathe, and we'll go from there. But first job, trim this down to shape to give me something to work with. And there we go. One relatively straight, decent handle end, decent bit of space for a spool, and I'll just whittle this out, tidy it up, and we'll go from there. So here I'm just marking out the edges of where I'm going to be whittling out for the spool end. Just running the knife around, all the way around, to a depth of about sort of 3 or 4 mil, making a little groove as I go, working out where the handle is going to end, where the other end of the spool is going to go, and doing the same thing there. Work my way all the way around, and I'm going to take out this section here. I start by just going all the way around with some initial cuts down to the depth of the groove I've just cut. Doesn't need to be terribly precise at this point. Just going all the way around the handle, give me a starting point, give me a depth to cut to. Looks about right. Depth point there, so I'm going to extend that all the way along to the other end. Now the cut I've made at the far end of it actually acts as a bit of a stop cut as well, so I can cut right down to it, and like there you see it just stops when it reaches the end, when it reaches the groove at the other end. And this technique, keeping the wood tucked into my stomach like that, allows me to have really good control with the thumb on the back of the blade at either end. And that's the finished article. Also scraped the handle a little bit to get rid of some of the mossy growth, and chamfered the ends round just to make it a little bit more comfortable in the hand. It's only rough, only needs to be rough. Took a knot off just there to smooth that out. There's a nice section for my line to go in, the recess at both ends, and the chamfer at the top end as well. Right, so there we go. I've trimmed my, whittled the spool end down to take the line, and now there's my handle. I've chamfered the ends off a little bit to make them just a little bit smarter, and now I need to bore a hole in that. So I'm going to use this. I'm in somebody else's bob shop today. I'm away at the treehouse, as I said, so using the landlord's bits and bobs. So we're going with a 7/8 hole, because that's going to give me still a decent wall thickness on the spool area, and 7/8 should be enough to drop a few floats in there and a few bits and bobs. So yeah, we will go old school with a hand crank. Let's see how we do. I'm a little bit off centre, so I'm going to go at a slight angle just till it starts to bite, and then I'll straighten up. Just be able to. There we go. Seems to be working. Could have been a little further away from this wall here, but I think we're alright. It's quite nice to use some hand tools for once. And there we go. One hole. Can't really see that in the light, but it's bored in. It goes down to about there. Perfect for a few floats, some spare shot, bit of rag maybe with some hooks and spare shot and bits and bobs in. You can poke down in there. Just need a cork now for the end. Okay, so hole is bored in the end, as we saw earlier. The next job, which I didn't film because you really didn't need to see me doing it, was I bought this. Some monofilament line which needs to go around the end, and that's what I've done. So I've wound that on all the way around the whole thing, just tied it on at the very end and wound the whole lot. That is 100 meters of line, and it's on there, and it's not even filled it even halfway up of the depth of the cut that I put in there. So really happy with that. Makes it obviously keeps it all nice and tidy and safe on there. Put a little hook on the end of that, and then just wound it around fairly tight, and then the hook actually just bites in really nicely. It's not a barbed hook, it's a non-barbed hook, and then I just pushed it into there like that, and that keeps it all from unravelling. Pretty perfect, I think. Really happy with that, and it just feels really good in the hand. It feels like the sort of thing that's actually going to work really, really well. I did initially kind of just was going to do this as sort of a practice, a proof of concept, I suppose. Not that lots of people have made them before, so it's not really a proof of concept, but you know what I mean. But I think actually it's going to end up being a bit of a keeper. So there you go. Anyway, the rest of my bag of goodies is here, and in here I bought a few things. bought some floats. So I just went to my local fishing shop the other day, picked up some floats. This one I quite liked because it's like a big balloony type float, but it's got a weight already on the end of it. And then right on the end of here, pull that little sleeve down like that, and there's a hook. Can you see that? Maybe. There's a hook on the back of that. If I do that, is that better? Maybe. A little plastic hook. So you just put the line through there, pull that sleeve back up, and it pins the line in. Awesome. So I think that's going to be my main use float, and that can probably just sit like that, and then a little rubber band around it to keep it safe. A couple of spare floats, and a yellow one and an orange one for different light conditions, and I'm just going to drop them in. And there they are. So they just go right down to the bottom of there, and they fall back out again when you need them. So that is awesome. What else have we got to go in this little bundle of joy? Oh, hooks. Yeah, obviously need some hooks. So I bought a couple of packets of these, and some size 8s and some 10s and 8s, and I just put them all into one of the packets. Took the piece of cardboard out, and that, all I'm going to do with that is roll it up like that. That keeps all the hooks together, all safe, all out of the way, and that drops down in there as well. Awesome. Another little bag here with some float caps, just like little rubber bands, basically little rubber tubes for if you want to. I don't even know that I really need those, so might not put them in, but yeah, maybe not. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the other hook bag that I had for my shot. So I just got some split shot, various selections, some BB, some AAA, some number 1 and some number 4, different sizes. Excuse me, if I show you the back of that, can you see those? So you've got some smally ones, some neck size, and then some big ones over here. So I don't need all of those, obviously, because that's A, going to be kind of weight, and B, just don't need all of them. So I'm going to take a few of those out and drop them in this other hook bag. I'll bring you back when I've done it. And there we go, just a selection of the 2 of the larger sizes in there. The smaller ones not really going to bother with, because it is just an emergency kit. It's not supposed to be for, you know, all kinds of millions of different scenarios. It's not actually going proper course fishing, it's just sort of make do. So they're going to go inside there, where they're actually fitting inside the other packet with the hooks in, which is kind of awesome. So that's nice, that all goes in there. Can you see that? There they go, all in there. And I've kept a couple of the big ones out because I'm going to use this float, so I'm going to put that onto the line, and then I'm going to put some of the larger weights on to the end, sort of near the hook end, for sinking the bait right down. And then this, because it's got this little thing on, you don't need to put weights either side of this, because A, it's got a weight on it, and B, that little clamp there, or you could leave it a little bit looser and the float will slide. So that's pretty awesome little float actually. So I'm going to put those together now. What I'm going to do is put them a little way up from the hook. Hook's just there, so I'm going to run them a little way up so that these weights should hopefully sink to the bottom, and then that will kind of flap slightly and still have some movement in it. I don't know if that's how it works. I'm not an expert fisherman. Used to do a bit of fishing when I was a kid, but that was a long time ago. So a pinch on there. I'll put 2 on, I think. They crimp on really nicely, those. I'll just give them a quick bite. There we go. So that's those 2 weights pinched onto it. They went on really good. Let's give that other one a bit more of a nip up. There we go. Yeah, a bit happier with that. There we are. And the float can pretty much go anywhere. If I leave the float a little bit further up the line, one of the advantages of that is the float will reach the spool, and it leaves me with a bit more line to keep going round, which I can use to hold the float down with, you know, sort of wrap it around. So that's my plan. So I'll put the float on about there, I think. So we get to see how easy this works. So we pull that little sleeve down, hook the line through the little hook, pull the sleeve back up. That's it. Amazing. Super easy. And it slides really nicely on there. There we go. And then I'll put that onto there and continue to wind. Keep winding back up like that, and there's my two of the weights, which means I must be near the hook. Try not to skewer my finger. Like that. There we go. Yeah, caught the finger. And wind that up. And take the hook, put it under a bit of tension, and dig it in. And that is basically it. One Hobo fishing kit. That is awesome. That float's nice and securely held on there. Love it. Love it. I know some people put like a sleeve over that, a bit of elasticated sleeve or something, to just protect it all. That's not a bad idea. I might do that at some point. And I need to get a cork for that end. Find myself a champagne cork and trim it down and just bung that in the end of there. And that is that. One Hobo fishing kit made out of a piece of cherry, scavenged from a pile of scrap wood. 20 minutes whittling to make a handle, to make the spool area. A little bit of chamfering, both ends. 10 minutes with a hand twisted auger. And there you go. What's that? You could do that in half an hour if you had it all your kit ready. Wonderful little project. Give it a go. So there we go. One Hobo fishing kit. Happy days. As always, please like, comment and subscribe. Tell me how I could have done it better. Tell me how I could have made it smarter or easier. How I could have done it easier. And don't just say use power tools. That's not the point. I wanted to try and do that one by hand, just the old-fashioned way. Yeah, if you've got any ideas of projects I can do, stick them in the comments below, and I'll see if I can get around to making some of them. I'd love this channel to be, you know, interactive with the people that are viewing it. Thanks to all my subscribers that have subscribed so far, all 33 of you, I think it is. That's awesome. Didn't think I'd even get one, to be honest. So was pleased to get 33. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? So anyway, I'll see you next time on the Bobshop. Do join us then. Bye bye.